It is 6:01, and the work session for mayor and council for Monday, August 4th is called to order. Miss Rainey, please, can we have a roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Honorable Mayor Butler.
Good evening.
Council members and City Manager Clark. This is the roll call for the August 4th, 2025 work session. Mayor Butler,
Present.
Councilmember James,
Present.
Councilmember Gunn. Let the record reflect Councilmember Gunn is not in attendance. Councilmember Gutierrez,
Present.
Councilmember Akins-Wells,
Here.
Councilmember Mears.
Here.
Mayor Butler, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you for that. Now, the consent agenda, is there anything that the governing body desires to add or delete from the consent agenda? All right, not hearing anything. Is there a motion to adopt and approve tonight's consent agenda?
So move.
Thank you. That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second? That was Councilman Gutierrez. Is there any discussion? Miss Randy, please.
Yes. Councilmember James,
Yes.
Councilmember Gunn, not in attendance. Councilmember Gutierrez,
Yes.
Councilmember Akins-Wells.
Yes.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, thank you. The agenda itself, anything that the governing body desires to add or delete from the work session agenda? Not hearing anything. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So move.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Gutierrez. Is there any discussion? Miss Randy, please.
Councilmember James,
Yes.
Councilmember Gunn, he's absent. Councilmember Gutierrez,
Yes.
Councilmember Akins-Wells.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to keep saying her name if she's not here.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right. New business, council discussion and presentation on the city center project funding, background and history. On June 2nd, 2025. Is that not right?
Got two items on the old business.
Oh, I sure did jump down. We're gonna back up here. Old business. Council discussion of a blanket purchase order for cooperative contracted vendors, MES, Bound Tree, and Benefit Fire. Background and history. As part of our ongoing efforts to streamline the procurement process, the following cooperative contracted vendors are being presented to create blanket purchase orders for fiscal year 25 and 26. MES Services for $120,000 from line item 100-61-3520-53-1136. Next is Bound Tree Medical for $75,000. And this is first aid and medical supplies, line item 100-60-3610-53-1703, and Bennett Fire Products for $85,000, which will come from the suspension fire gear, line item number 300-61-3510-52-3718.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Mayor, Council, City Manager Clark. This really should be in the consent agenda. It was put in the wrong place, so I do apologize for that. But this is just a request for fire and rescue to secure their blanket purchase order for the full fiscal year for these services and products that they need to handle their daily functions.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments? Councilwoman James?
No.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes, thank you. So I noticed that you mentioned something was eliminated. So is that no longer needed to purchase this?
I didn't say anything. I didn't say something was eliminated. I said it was in the wrong section. It should have been under consent instead of old business.
No, when you were reading the history, you said it's coming from something that's going to be taken out.
Taken out of that particular.
That line item.
Oh, it's coming out of there. Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure we're not taking things away from them.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Wells?
No.
Councilman Mears?
No, ma'am.
All right, item 3, council discussion on cemetery maintenance Consideration of service reallocation options. Background and history. The City of Forest Park currently oversees the landscape maintenance of the following cemeteries: Main Street at Phillips Drive, which is city-owned. Conley Road Cemetery, privately owned by the Forest Park Lodge of Oddfellows, and the Elam Church Road Cemetery, which is privately owned by Elam Church Cemetery. All three sites are being serviced under contract by World Space LLC, with approximately 3 months remaining on their current agreement, which is $11,850. Public Works is seeking directions on whether the city should continue maintaining the privately owned cemeteries at Connolly Road and Elam Church Road. If the council decides not to continue maintenance of the private sites, we recommend reallocating Worldscapes services to prioritize high visibility corridors such as Jonesboro Road, Old Dixie Highway, and Forest Park Highway that impact residents and visitors daily while ensuring continued stewardship of city-owned assets. Good evening.
Take it first, Mayor Butler. So this item is just bringing this back to the dais. We did some research and this contract is ongoing. And so Director Matthews and our procurement manager just has some additional details to share. And we do anticipate continuing this service.
All right, thank you.
Right. We do have an ongoing contract and they are on call, so we can utilize them as needed until council has further decisions.
And the other thing I'll share with the body, since the last time we met, there is an effort to find out officially who actually owns the cemetery, and to go through the process of deeding it over to the city if that is the route this governing body wants to go, just for preservation purposes. I know this was a hot topic at our last council meeting when the member of the public who spoke about the history of the site. And so we just wanted to bring this back to the forefront of the governing body so that you knew what was happening and what has happened since the last time we met.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman James,
No questions, thank you.
Councilman Gutierrez,
No, thank you.
Councilwoman Wells,
No.
and Councilman Mears. All right, thank you. New business, council discussion and presentation on the city center project funding, background and history. On June 2nd, 2025, City Council authorized the city to secure a contract with Carroll Daniel Construction for construction manager at risk for construction of the city center building, which includes City Hall, police, recreation, and parking. Precision Planning, Inc. is providing design development services and will coordinate with the CMR for the new city center building that will be approximately 200,000 square feet. The city center project funding prepared for the City of Forest Park will give a comprehensive overview of the city's existing debt service, the project budget, proposed Series 2025 bond plan for financing the project for 20 or 25 years, and a millage sensitivity analysis on sales tax collection and net digest versus the millage rate.
Yes, ma'am. Members of the governing body, we're excited to bring this full circle to discuss the funding opportunities for the erection of the new city center. As you'll recall, back in December of 2024, we officially approved the construction manager at risk contract with the GM. Subsequent to that, the city has procured the architect for this site. And so tonight, we're going to hear from our from our finance advisor, the Mr. Ed Wall, over next steps for the completion of this city center. So there's a presentation within your agenda documents that has been shared. And for the public, the presentation will be on the screen.
Thank you very much, Mr. City Manager. Good evening, Mayor and Council. How y'all doing?
Good evening.
I'm gonna run this machinery.
Talking to the microphone, please.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm gonna run the machinery from here. So I want you to see what your existing debt service is on the existing bonds that we have. And the first set of columns is the 2021 URA bond issue. This was the bond issue that we did for the city center, all the projects, city center, Wade Star Park, Project, what's the name of the park?
Star Park.
Star Park.
Terrell
And then
Star.
Wade Star.
Yes.
And
Okay.
we did some weather stuff, we did trail stuff, and there were all sorts of things that we did. And if you would, wonder if this thing will work. It won't, it'll hardly, y'all see that 11,545,000? So when we bid it out, we have a thing, we bid out your bonds to about 80 banks in Georgia, and we take the lowest interest rate bid, provided it gives us an interest rate that's equal to what you can do if you sold the bonds on Wall Street at a public sale. And Truist had the lowest bid. It was 2.55%. Doesn't that rate look great today? It'd be around 4.5 today. It was done in 21 before the Fed started raising rates, and they would only do a 15-year fixed rate. And so we dropped 11,545,000 here. It doesn't mean that you have to come up with that amount of money then. We would refinance it at some point in time and then fill it for the next 5 years and make it a 20-year bond, or could do a 25-year bond. And so as part of the presentation tonight, I'm taking out, since we're going on and doing it, we get economies of scale in issuance costs. I would go on and refinance that and just take this bullet out. So it was designed to be that way so that we could do the financing. It was always meant to be refinanced. The next debt that you have outstanding is 4.85%. It was the DDA, and that was for the purchase of property. We did 2 bond issues, one in 23A and 23B. One was to buy properties up off of Main Street, or the road that goes along Chick-fil-A, and then one bond issue bought the properties adjoining each side of this building here. And so the total payment of all your debt is $3,300,000. And where that is coming from, we have all the new taxes and pilot payments coming from Fort Gillum. And so that's where those payments are coming from. That's your existing debt. Turn to the next page. I got to do that. So here's what we're talking about. You can see that 11,545,000. I'm highlighting it. We're going to refinance that. So the proposed budget for the city center is 104 million. Mr. City Manager, you want to talk anything about that?
Absolutely. So when the bids were issued, the bids came back over, I want to say the final number was $124 million. We've since value engineered the project down, and what the value engineering process allows for is us to go through every facet of that building to ensure or to look over things that we can cut out, materials that we can do different, as well as architecture. Like there was a rooftop on the facility to get the number down, something that was more palatable to our actual fiscal budget. We removed the rooftop. There were 2 large fountains on the outside. One of the fountains we removed, but you still have that grand entrance there as you enter the city center. So that's how we came down to the $104 million. And the other thing I'll note, this building and this project includes all of our city operations with the exception of fire services and public works. All of our departments will be under one roof, as well as we were able to get inside this building to add a very nice area for the seniors, something that they do not have to share, as well as our recreation and leisure department by way of the gymnasium. All of our departments have met with the architect to go over their specific needs, and that's why we're here today at Wall.
There. Let's talk about a source and use of funds. So I wanted to start with this column here, the right column. This is merely we're refinancing that bullet maturity that you have outstanding and stretching it out over the remaining life, a 25-year life. And so it'll actually have lower annual payments than what it has now because we're stretching it out over a longer period of time. Let's look at this column here. This is the financing of the city center itself. I want to start here in the middle. You all have cash available for the city center project already on hand, so there's no need to borrow money for that. So out of that 21 bond issue that I showed you, you have $29,675,000 sitting in the bank that we haven't spent yet. You have $11.5 million in the 21 SPLOST account. You have $850,000 in TAD funds, and then you have $1,200,000. Y'all call it the Red Speed account, and it's for public safety. And part of this building would be for public safety, so it's eligible expenditure. So you have 43,225,000 that you all will be contributing. That's kind of like equity in a house. When you go and finance a car, you finance a house, you have equity. You all have tremendous amount of equity that most cities and counties and school boards don't have. They have to finance 100%. So of the $104 million project amount, you only issue 62,335,000 in bonds. The rest of this would be issuance costs down here, estimated at about 3%. I would think it would come in at 2%, but dealing with Ricky Clark as many years as I have, he likes me to budget high and come in low. So that's what I do to make sure I'm always conservative. And so $62 million in bonds we're going to talk about tonight, together with $43 million of your own cash money, will fund it. So let's talk about the debt service for the new one. This first column right here is a 2025A, which is the big bond issue for the city center. This second column is just the refinancing of that $11,500,000 bullet that I call it. And you can see we've stretched it all the way out for 20 years to 2045. And so the annual payments here for the new debt would be $4,669,000. So to finance the rest of the city center, we'd be increasing our annual payments by $4,669,000. And so the total debt service added to your existing debt would bring us up to $7 million. Let's talk about how we come up with the $4.6 million. If you look at this column over here, in November, Clayton County is going to have a vote for a new special purpose local option sales tax. And we have budgeted 70% of what we would receive over the next 6 years for debt service payments. And that's $4,642,000. And so it would leave $1 million that would come up out of the general fund. You were already spending $3.3 million out of the general fund, so it's only an extra $300,000. If we wanted to budget a wee bit more, the special purpose local option sales tax, it could fund 100% of it. The key thing here is if this SPLOST doesn't pass and you issue the bonds before the November vote, if it doesn't pass, then you'll have to come out of the general fund with that amount of money. But this is a great financing plan. It was the way Mr. Clark financed the new city center, the Nouveau restaurant, and the Lee Street Park at Jonesboro. Is SPLOST pays for nearly all of that debt service for all those projects. Next page.
SPLOST paying for Nouveau? SPLOST dollars are paying for Nouveau?
Mr. Clark wanted me to do a sensitivity analysis.
Will you explain what a sensitivity analysis is?
Sure. So the chart that I showed you before assumed a 0% growth in the collection of the special purpose local option sales tax, and it is assumed a 0% growth in your property tax digest. Your property tax digest, every 1 mil on your tax digest raises about $1.1 million. Every 1 mil is 1.1 million. And you currently levy 16.743 mils. And so a sensitivity analysis says what happens if it grows? And then there's another sensitivity analysis, what happens if it declines? And so if it were to grow, you can see here the sales tax collections that you would receive from the new 1 penny sales tax. The county collects about $68 million a year in local option sales tax and special purpose local option sales tax, and they give you your percentage share of it. And I think it's 11%, something like that. I've got it in my machine. I can get it if y'all want to know the exact amount. And so you get a percentage share loosely based on population, your tax digest to their tax digest. And so you can see here if it grows, we have here it growing 6,280,000 to 6,967,000, a 10.93% growth rate. And you have had years where it has grown that much. and then 10.72 in the next year, and then we dropped it to a 5% growth, and then we have it declining in 25. Just a sensitivity analysis, what would happen. And we have your tax digest of 808 million here. And if that was in 21, you can see it went to 755 million. In 22, it declined. Then it was 849, then $1,051,051, and then $1,097. So 1 mil on that is 1.097 million, $1,100,000. And you can see the growth rate in your tax digest has been pretty good. It was negative 6.6 here, but then it was a 12% growth, a 23% growth, and then a 4% growth. So I go to the next one is sensitivity analysis directly related to our project. So if we take the sales tax and we grow it at 5% a year, if we grow it at 5% a year right here, you can see in 26, it'd be 8 million, 8,000,005, 8,000,009, 9,000,004, and then 9,859. And then at 0% growth, you can see it's 7 million right along. And then local option sales tax at a negative 5% growth is 7,000,003, 6 million, 6,000,002, 6,000,002, and 5,000,009. So the purpose of this exercise that Mr. Clark wanted me to show you, all we needed from SPLOST was 4,000,006 a year. And so at a decline of 5% a year, there's never a year where you won't collect the 4,000,006 from the SPLOST. And of course, at a 5% growth, you'll have a lot more extra money for other city projects. Mr. Clark, that concludes my presentation.
Yes, one of the things I want to point out, I think Councilwoman Wells had a great question. How did the price of the city center grow? The last estimates that I believe the city was provided when that bond was issued for when the building was on Forest Parkway. Now, that was before my tenure, but I don't believe that building included. I know it did not have recreation and leisure. It was more or less a city hall. And so this exercise, when we started this city center, it's all of the offices. And one whole side of the building is rec and leisure, since the gymnasium would come down as well. I think that's the biggest difference in what the city was presented before, and I guess that was 3 or 4 years ago.
And one last thing I wanted to point out is if up here it says, what if no SPLOST? What if the SPLOST didn't get approved and you decide to go forward with it? At 5% growth, you'd have to raise taxes 3.19 mils. At a 0% growth, remember we have no SPLOST, it'd be 4.1 mils of property tax. And if the net tax digest went down 5%, it'd be 5.291 mils. And so it shows you how important the SPLOST is to you.
Is that it?
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, thank you.
Any questions?
Councilwoman James?
Hello, sir.
Hello, Madam Chair. How you doing?
I'm doing great, doing great. So question I have is, what would be the advantage or disadvantage of not refinancing?
The $11 million
Yeah,
budget?
the 11 million.
Well,
So if we wanted to like get that off the books,
you could wait, and if you think rates are going to go down, you could wait and do it later if you wanted to. But you don't have to do it right now. While we were doing it, I just thought I'd go and get it out of the way. But it's up to you. You just want to refinance it before it matures. And so you have between now and
so
2036.
explain to me what happens when it matures.
So in 2036, if I don't refinance it, you got to come up with $11 million all at one time.
Gotcha. Okay,
And so that's why we'd want to refinance it and have you do it in bites.
okay. And then we're still paying it off like annually or monthly?
Annually, you have interest semi-annually and principal annually. And so I didn't include the URA bond that you know, which was for infrastructure at Fort Gillum. You know, that's retired through the pilot payment from Kroger. And that's the one other debt that's not on here, but it has its own source of revenue to pay it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Gutierrez,
No, no questions. Thank you, Ed.
Councilman Wells,
No, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Councilman Mears.
Thank you, sir.
One of the things I'll add with the URA payment, that money comes to the general fund and it goes right back out for purposes of paying that bond. The sensitivity model that we're showing here is because council members, you'll recall, every year we've had to advertise a millage increase, but it's been because of the increase in our digest, not by efforts of the governing body actually raising the millage rate. And so with this scenario, for the administrations that will come, it just protects the organization. I don't think it's a good idea for us to wait until 2032, I believe was the year, and have to pay $11 million at one time. It's better if you just
2036.
keep refinancing because the cost goes lower.
2036. boss.
2036.
So, but when 2036 hits,
That lump sum.
we will probably be a whole lot less than 11 million, right?
Right.
No, so
Oh, that number
you'll
doesn't change.
look at the chart here. My machinery's gone. So, good. Pull my presentation back up. Great. Something I did. So if you'll see, Madam Chair, see that 11,000,005, it's its own principal payment. So you up here, you got principal and you got interest. So the payment on that 21 bond issue at 2.55% is $2 million a year.
Okay, hold on. Let me get to that page because I can't see that. So confused. Okay, I'm with you now.
And then we have 11 million principal. The whole idea is to refinance that sometime between now and 2036 so that payment stays the same, $2 million a year. So 11 million divided by 2 million a year is about 5 years. So this was a 15-year note, but it has a 20-year amortization. So you'd have to take this and amortize it over the next 5 years. And that's what I have done, but you don't have to do it right now. You can wait.
And I'll share in my experience, a lot of governing bodies don't want to risk it and wait because you don't want to, if you're gone, you don't want whomever is on the council at that time or whomever is responsible for the city in 2036 to be responsible for an $11 million hit at one time. But again, this is just a general discussion, giving us direction of what to do for purposes of this issuance. Or you can wait. Our finance advisor was just adding this in. The city could make a decision that we don't want to tackle that right now. We just want to wait.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Yeah, Ed,
I'm sorry.
go ahead. Ed, you mentioned that we, I guess, reached out to all the financial institutions in Georgia. Is it just, only Georgia institutions or national institutions like city, banks that are here, or can it be other? Because that,
So the
I've
state
gone
of
to-
Georgia has a 5.75% income tax rate. So a bank domiciled in Georgia will pay you a lower interest rate because your bonds are exempt. The interest you pay is exempt from state and federal income tax. And so a bank in Pennsylvania buying your bond doesn't pay state or Georgia income tax, so they don't get that credit. So your bond is more popular and worth more to a Georgia bank. So that's why I sent it to Georgia banks, because I know if I send it to banks nationally, they will have a higher interest rate than a Georgia bank would. And as your financial advisor, it isn't like we're just waiting and whatever rate gets, that's what we get. I know what the rates are, and then I compare. If you were to have your own credit rating, I think you'd be rated AA. And so, the ratings are AAA is the highest, then AA, then A, then BAA. And so I think you'd be a AA rated credit just off the highest there is, because you got great finances, you got a great economy, you got a great tax digest. So I take AA rates and say, okay, they're supposed to be here. We got 2.55. At the time, AA rates might have been like 2.6%. And Truist gave us a rate lower than what you could get by selling your bonds nationally, because they get a double tax break. They don't pay federal income tax or state income tax on what you pay.
Got you. Okay. And the reason I ask, I guess, is just when sometimes attending these leadership conferences, a lot of companies that are, investment firms from across the country just give information on their rates. And I know that a few of them were wanting to tap into Georgia. So I was curious to see, like, if we do a national search or if it's just, I understand, I guess, the benefits of being banks that are here. But I was just curious of that. And I guess, yeah, thank you for the information.
Yes, sir.
Nothing precludes us from doing that.
Nothing, no.
For analysis purposes.
If you wanted to send it nationally, we could, just to see.
So yes, ma'am.
So just another question I had. As a governing entity, are we allowed, so we have the annual payments that we have to make, but are we allowed to make overpayments? Like,
Yes, ma'am, you
we have
could.
the 2 million, whatever that we have to pay every year.
Right.
If we make overpayment, will that cut into the principal?
So
that we
every bond issue that you got, I put in an early prepayment. So like these were 15-year bonds. After 5 years, you could prepay them with no prepayment penalty. And so if you had extra money, I'd have you to set it aside in the Georgia Fund 1 and earn 4.37%, because that's what it's paying today. The interest rate on these bonds is 2.55. So I wouldn't want you to swap 4.37 to 2.55. But that could change. And so in any year, you got your savings piled up. If that flips around the other way, then you pay these bonds off with no prepayment penalty.
So chances are, though, when we refinance, it's going to be a whole lot more than 2 point whatever, right?
I've assumed 4.75% for 20-year bonds.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I guess in your professional opinion, what would be your advice to us?
So you all have to decide how badly you want a new city center. But in my professional advice to you, wait till after November to issue the bonds to make sure that the SPLOST is passed. We've never had a SPLOST to fail in Clayton County. Georgia law authorized counties to do a SPLOST in cities in 1985. So however many years that is, 40 years, there hadn't been a failure. So the odds are it won't fail.
No, it's not that old. I'm 86.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Onward.
That's it. Thank y'all.
Council discussion and
You didn't ask
presentation.
if we had any questions, but no, I don't.
No, we did.
No. I had one, but
We had
it's
another,
fine.
no, didn't we go down the line?
No.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Wall, I think you have a question.
No, I think Councilwoman James asked, I just wanted to make sure we all had the opportunity. Mayors may have had a question, surprisingly. But no, Councilwoman James asked my question, because my question was, if we pay more, could we just pay it off faster instead of waiting
And you
or
can- yes, ma'am.
refinancing?
After 5 years, there's no prepayment penalty.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Mears?
Fine.
Now, thank you, sir. Council discussion and presentation to approve the 2026 SPLOST list of projects. Background and history. The Finance Department is presenting the proposed 2026 SPLOST, which is the Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, project list for review and consideration. SPLOST is a voter-approved 1% sales tax used to fund capital outlay projects that serve public purposes. It allows local governments to address infrastructure, public safety, transportation, and quality of life needs without increasing property taxes. The purpose of this project list is to identify spending categories and their corresponding funding allocations based on the projected SPLOST revenue of $39,791,335. This list will guide how funds are distributed across major categories, ensuring transparency and accountability in the use of public dollars.
Yes, ma'am. Governing body, our finance director is unable to be here with us right now. However, our senior staff accountant, Ms. Nina Robinson, will present this. And just for your purposes, this is exactly what we talked about at the strategic planning retreat. The only good thing, I sent an email to all of you notifying you, we actually, based upon some hard work and diligence of our financial advisor, the numbers that were provided to us were too low. So we were able to add an additional $19 to $20 million to this SPLOST. So again, we're hoping that it passed, but this brief presentation will be conducted by Ms. Robinson.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
everyone. You have a slide prepared by Director Wiggins and a perfect segue from what Mr. Walls was presenting to you. This is the SPLOST. We're working toward a timeline to meet the SPLOST 2026 timeline for Clayton County for presentation of these desired items. The SPLOST overview as presented here is a 1% sales tax levied by any county for the purpose of building parks, schools, and roads and public facilities. And we believe that the list that we've included for this presentation meets those objectives. We are presenting this tonight for your consideration for presentation further to the Clayton County Board of Commissions. Of the $39,791,335,000 in revenue that we are projecting to get with this SPLOST project that will be approved in November, we have allocated funds in the amount of $1,193,740 for roads, bridges, sidewalks, and transportation. For city facilities and equipment, we've allocated $27,853,934.50. For parks,
And can I interrupt you?
certainly,
That'd be the payments on the cities.
yes. This is the debt service, source for the debt service, that number. Parks and Recreation, $8,754,093.70. Public safety facilities and equipment, which would also probably be part of the construction of the city center, those FF&E items that we need to include, and technology upgrades, both equally allocated at $994,783.38 for a total of $39,791,335. I'll entertain any questions that I can take back or answer for you now if I have the answer for you.
Councilwoman James.
No questions. Thank you.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Question, thank you.
Yeah.
I like the SPLOST with the penny in the middle.
Okay, good. I'll make sure she knows that. Thank you.
Councilwoman Wells
Thank you.
and Councilman Mears.
Thank
All right, thank you. Council discussion to approve case text amendment number 2025-03, Planning and Development, Chapter 8, Zoning, Article A, General Provisions, Section 8-8-4, Definitions of City of Forest Park Code of Ordinances to amend such section, adding definitions for electric vehicle, charging stations, and text amendment for Title 8, Planning and Development, Chapter 8, Zoning, Article C, Development and Use Standards of the City of Forest Park Code of Ordinances to amend such section, adding Section 8-8-97, Electric Vehicle Charging Stations. Background and history. The purpose of this text amendment is to update the Code of Ordinances to support the development of electric vehicle infrastructure within the City of Forest Park. This amendment introduces definitions for electric vehicle-related terminology, and establishes standards governing in the installation, use, and aesthetics of electric vehicle charging stations and electric vehicle parks. These standards are designed to promote sustainable, safe, and visually cohesive infrastructure that aligns with the city's goals for environmental responsibility and urban design. Should the mayor and council approve this text amendment, it will provide a regulatory framework that encourages responsible electric vehicle infrastructure growth throughout the city. And there will be a public hearing on this item during the regular session. So good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager.
Good evening.
I'm here this evening just to present briefly the amendment to the ordinance regarding electric vehicles. As stated in the introduction, this ordinance is being presented to provide some definitions, some standards, and some directions on how to develop EV stations and EV parking lots within the city of Forest Park. We outlined some site design requirements, landscaping, lighting, and fencing, as well as having trash receptacles. And we also discussed parking requirements as well as maintenance and operations, as well as utility and code compliance with regards to this particular use. This item was heard before the Planning Commission on the 17th of July, and they recommended approval of this text amendment. And I'm available if you have any additional questions regarding this item.
Thank you. Councilwoman James?
Yes, thank you for this. My question would be, how did you go about knowing what the standards are for?
We conducted research to
Okay.
see what typical standards are for this particular use. And what we did was basically kind of pick out the best standards that we see throughout the area, and also incorporated some things that we thought would be important to the city, like lighting and landscaping for the parking lots and parking areas.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Questions, thank you.
Councilwoman Wells?
Thank you.
Councilman Mears? All right, thank you. Council discussion to approve case for conditional use permit 2025-03 for 4959 and 4965 West Street to establish a child care center within a single-family residential district in Ward 2. Background and history. The applicant requests approval for a conditional use permit to establish a child care center within the single-family residential district in Ward 2 per Section 8-8-28, single-family residential district, pre-K facilities, and daycare centers require a conditional use permit to operate within a single-family residential district. On July 17th, 2025, the Planning Commission approved the conditional use permit request with conditions, and the conditions are as follows. If the applicant ceases to operate the business at this location, any subsequent operator or the property owner must obtain a new conditional use permit before commencing operations. Continued use of this property for this business type within the single-family residential district shall not be permitted without prior approval of a new conditional use permit by the Planning Commission and Mayor and Council. If the applicant ceases operating the business at this location, the property owner is required to adhere to Section 8-8-90, parking standards, driving surfaces. All parking areas, including parking surfaces, parking spaces, interior drives, and ingress and egress into parking areas must be paved with asphalt or concrete. All parking areas shall be clearly painted to show each parking space. And the last condition, the proposed location has been granted a conditional use permit in the past to operate a daycare center, but due to there not being a consistent business use at that location, the ordinance requires that any new applicant reapply for a conditional use permit. If the mayor and council approves the conditional use permit request, the applicant will move forward with her business plans to establish a child care facility for children aged 6 weeks to 12 years, and this too will have a public hearing during the regular session.
Yes, once again, good evening. This item was heard by the Planning Commission, and there was discussion with regards to this particular use. The site itself has 2 buildings on the location, and what staff recognized was that there needed to be some parking improvements made to the location in order to ensure safety with the children, as well as identify parking spaces and areas and deal with the getting into the space area and getting out of the space area. So what the Planning Commission decided to recommend was that when the next applicant comes in, because of the concern of not wanting the applicant to bear the cost of how much it would cost to make the improvements to the parking area, what they recommended is when this use changes out, that the property owner would be required to make the improvements to the parking area so that when a new applicant comes in and they want to do daycare, that they will have an upgraded safe parking area and parking spaces to accommodate the daycare center. So that is the reason why the Planning Commission has made this recommendation, and I'm available should you have any questions regarding this item.
7, Councilwoman James.
So let me make sure I understand clearly. This applicant has to make the improvements too.
No,
So,
ma'am.
park.
There was discussion initially to have the property owner make some of these parking improvements prior to this current applicant. However, the board felt that it was unfair and was concerned that the costs would go over to this particular tenant. So what they recommended is that when there's a change out of tenants for the use of a daycare center, at that time, the property owner would make the improvements prior to going into another agreement with a different tenant. So it just happens when there's a change out. If there's a change out, then the improvements could be made prior to a new tenant. But for right now, there aren't going to be any improvements made, or we're not requiring any improvements to be made by the property owner.
So just looking at the pictures, and I apologize, I did not get an opportunity to ride over to see the site, but just looking at the photos, I think your initial concerns about, the safety of the children and the conditions of the parking lot is pretty valid. I mean, I don't know that. I mean, it looks like it might have some holes and some places where you can turn your ankle and things of that nature. So I don't know, but thank you.
Got it. Any other questions or comments? Councilman Gutierrez?
Yeah, so I guess the improvements are gonna be made then when the next tenant comes in, not now.
Correct.
And we still have currently a tenant there right now.
Yes, and this tenant will be moving in the other building because there's 2 buildings on this location.
And the way that it would work, Councilman Gutierrez, we would not issue the new tenant a occupational tax license, business license until said conditions had been met. So before they could even operate, they would have to get the occupational tax from us as well as their Bright from Start certification from the state.
But that would only be on one building, right?
It would be on the site. Whatever conditions are put into place by this governing body tonight via the vote, they have to adhere to those conditions before we'll license them to operate.
So if these tenants were to renew they're gonna stay there and they renew their license next year, then they would have to fix all these things?
Well, the way that it was actually stated at the hearing was that if there's a tenant change out, there seems to be at this location a fluctuation between the tenants that come and go from this location. So initially, the Planning Commission recommended that when there's a change out of the tenants, that's when we would require the property owner to make the improvements prior to obtaining a new tenant to occupy the site.
Yeah, I just shared the concerns from Councilwoman James about this being a daycare. That parking lot just doesn't look good at all.
And I
not
think,
safe.
I'm sorry, Councilman Gutierrez, I think this predates when this governing body put all of the restrictions on these type of facilities throughout the city. I think this actual tenant predates all of that. So there's a non-conformance period now if there's a new tenant that comes in lieu of the current tenant who's grandfathered in under our old guidelines and ordinances.
So we can't do nothing now. That's why we're implementing it to when.
For the new tenant that comes in, yes, sir.
Councilwoman Wells?
Yeah, I kind of feel how the other council members feel. Like the work, if we're focusing on the safety of the kids, then it should be something that could be done now. And I don't think that should fall on the tenant who's entering the building. But if the main focus and our job is to make sure that businesses in our community are safe, then I think it should be something that we can do about that and make sure it's presentable, not just for the kids and safe for the kids, but presentable in our community as well. But yeah.
Councilman Mears?
Oh, ma'am, I have any question.
All right, thank you.
And the other thing I want to clarify, the planning commission in its definition is only a recommending body to the governing body. So whatever changes or amendments you all want to make or table it, you have the right and the authority to do so. They only make recommendations to all of you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item 8, council discussion and presentation to create an impact fee program, capital improvements element, and discuss the creation of the Development Impact Fee Advisory Committee. Background and history. In response to continued growth and increased demand on public infrastructure, the city is exploring the potential creation of a development impact fee program in accordance with the Georgia Development Impact Fee Act, OCGA 36-71-1. This program would provide a structured and legally supported method for funding capital improvements necessitated by new development, helping to ensure that growth pays for growth. As part of this initiative, the city must prepare a capital improvements element which outlines anticipated public safety needs over a defined planning period and identifies eligible capital projects and associated costs. The capital improvements element, or CIE, must be adopted as an amendment to the city's comprehensive plan and approved by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. In addition, the Development Impact Fee Program, or DIFA, requires the establishment of a Development Impact Fee Advisory Committee consisting of stakeholders, including representatives from the development community and the general public. This community will play an advisory role in the development and implementation of the program, review annual reports, and make recommendations on updates to the fee schedule and project lists. This discussion intends to brief the mayor and council on the purpose and process of establishing an impact fee program, obtain direction on preparing the capital improvements element, and consider appointing members to the required advisory committee.
Yes, good evening once again. And as
Good evening.
stated, I'm here to introduce Ms. Paige Hatley, and she will be our consultant that will be presenting and moving forward with the impact fee study. So she's here to give you a brief introduction and a brief analysis on what we will be doing for the study.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, Council, and City Manager. For the sake of time, I understand I need to move through these quickly. There will be a public hearing that follows the work session, and the intent of this brief presentation was to highlight the purpose of that public hearing, and in doing so, it also provides information about the Development Impact Fee Study and program and highlights key facets of such a program that the city is undertaking. I apologize for the formatting. Something got lost in translation when I emailed it. The purpose of the public hearing, it's to satisfy state requirements. Georgia Department of Community Affairs mandates that early on in the process that the public be given an opportunity to provide comment on certain capital projects that I'll discuss in just a second. So coming back to what exactly an impact fee is and what the public could be commenting on as far as the potential for another funding source for certain capital projects. The development impact fee, or impact fee as we call it for short, is a one-time fee that's collected from new development to help pay for capital projects that are needed to serve that new development. Everything that we do is guided by the Development Impact Fee Act, or DIFA. The city has elected to study the following public facility categories. These are the broad categories under which specific capital projects are going to be identified as being needed to serve future growth over the coming 2 decades. And specifically, when we talk about parks, public safety, and road improvements, we're looking at the potential for additional recreation components, additional square footage, so expanding fire stations, building a police precinct, for example, heavy vehicles such as fire apparatus or specialized police vehicles, and then road projects. So think about the ability for the city to expand its public services to serve future growth. You're going to need additional playgrounds, additional square footage, additional heavy vehicles. Those are the type of projects that impact fees can fund. They can be collected from new development to help pay for those services and facilities that are created by new development, the growth coming in. There are a few standard components that comprise an impact fee study. One is a capital improvements element, or CIE. That is the project-based document that will identify, based on projected population, housing, and employment, what capital projects are needed to serve future growth. There will be a potential fee schedule that identifies the fees that are going to be needed to help pay for these capital projects identified in the CIE. That will be housed in the development impact fee ordinance. And if the city so desires, at the conclusion of this study, to adopt an impact fee program, that would require adoption of the CIE and the ordinance, which is inclusive of a fee schedule. Key input that's going to be required in terms of public involvement. The state law, the Development Impact Fee Act, mandates the creation, the appointment by City Council of what's called a Development Advisory Committee. It has to have between 5 and 10 members, and at least half have to come from the building, development, or real estate industry. In other words, who's in the position to potentially pay an impact fee? So the development community has to be represented at the table. We envision up to 3 meetings with the advisory committee. And so we provided here the information on requirements to aid in your decision-making when you decide to appoint such a committee. That is a fairly near-term task. Understand it can't happen tonight, but there's just guidance for you on the preceding slide for future discussion. And then looking ahead, typically an impact fee study is about a year-long process. And I've highlighted in yellow opportunities for the advisory committee. There will be state-mandated public hearings throughout the process as well. And so this just summarizes those steps. All right, to rush through, I'm happy to take any questions with respect to the public hearing or impact fee study and development impact fee program in general.
Thank you. Councilwoman James?
So this state law, when did it go into effect?
1990?
So this is our first time doing this?
I can explain. So you'll recall when I first came to Forest Park, I talked about the need for an impact fee. This body approved us moving forward. We issued the RFP. Most communities in the metropolitan Atlanta area have been doing impact fees since this state law was instituted. And so in order for us to enact it in Forest Park, there's a methodology report that she's referencing that has to be done. And so once all of this stuff is done, Forest Park will be able to assess a impact fee on new developments that come.
You're not alone. Clayton County is looking at a program. There's no other city in the county that is doing so, and several South Fulton communities are looking at it. But there are still areas in Metro Atlanta that have never evaluated impact fees. So,
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Gutierrez?
No questions, thank you.
Councilwoman Wells?
No, thank you.
And Councilman?
No one, thank you.
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Item 9, council discussion on. Item 9, council discussion on an amphitheater fee waiver request for a day of prayer for 2025. Background and history. The Forest Park Minister Association is looking to host its annual Day of Prayer on September 20th, 2025 at the Amphitheater in Star Park. This event will consist of prayer, worship, and praise. The Minister Association is requesting that the amphitheater be used at no cost.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager. I have a young man here today on behalf of the Ministers Association that let you know all the amazing things they have prepared for that day.
Thank you for calling me young man. Appreciate that. Made my day. To the Mayor, Council, thank you all so much for giving me this space to speak to you. Over the past maybe 18, 19 years, the Forest Park Ministers Association has been hosting the Day of Prayer at Star Park at the Amphitheater. We are churches, the Forest Park Ministers Association. We are churches in the community that has the city at heart. We pray for the city. We engage the city. We network with the city. And so every year in September, we come and we pray, and we have different choirs, groups, soloists, instrumentalists. I think many of you now know that I'm a musician myself, so I play a little bit while I'm there. And we just pray, and we pray for you. We pray for the city. And the last thing that we do before we leave is from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. The last thing that we do, we walk around City Hall, and we pray for this whole every employee in this building. And so that's what we do, and that's why we're asking that you grant us our request. Thank you for this time.
Thank you so much. Councilwoman James?
Thank you, Dr. Payton. I appreciate all the service that you do for us.
You're so welcome. Any questions? Any other questions?
Councilman Gutierrez?
No, thank you, Doc. If you can sneak in a prayer for our Falcons, the Hawks, and
Yeah,
Atlanta
man.
United.
You know, we're doing that. We really,
Thank you,
we're
please.
hard.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. We're praying hard.
No, thank you.
Councilman Mears?
I'm glad you come up here because we need a lot of prayer.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Dr. Payton. All right, that concludes the work session. However, I do have a specific request to enter into an executive session for personnel, litigation, real estate, or legal matters that cannot wait. So is there a motion to go into recess the work session, enter into executive session?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second? That was Councilwoman Wells. executive session and reconvene into our regular meeting.
So move.
That was
Second.
Councilman Mears, is second by Councilwoman Wells. Is there any discussion? All right, Ms. Rainey?
Councilmember James,
You have to give an answer, ma'am.
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez,
Yes.
Councilmember Akins Wells,
Yes.
Councilmember Mears,
Grudgingly, yes.
All right. We did the roll call. The invocation, we did that out of order. The invocation tonight will be done by Elder Wanda Curry. So all of those who are able to stand, can you please do so and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? I know, I don't.
Let us pray. Father, we come before you tonight just to say thank you for your blessings of this day. Thank you, Lord, for bringing us to this place at this time, Father, so that your business can be done, so that people can be helped, so that people can be encouraged, and that you could strengthen, Lord, the city council, the mayor, and all those, Lord God, that are working so hard to make Forest Park a much better place, Lord God, to make it a safe place, to make it a place that people will use as a model, Father God. This is our prayer, that you will dispatch your angels around us and to keep us safe. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
So the consent agenda. All right, so in the work session, it was stated that the blanket item for the fire department was inadvertently not added on the consent agenda. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda, but adding that item to the consent agenda.
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Is there any discussion? Ms. Rainey, please.
Councilmember James,
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez,
Yes.
Councilmember Akins Wells,
Yes.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. So with the regular agenda for this meeting, we are going to remove the impact fee item 11. That's going to be added to public hearing. I think that brings us to 3 for tonight. And then we're going to remove the proclamation for tonight. So is there a motion to accept tonight's agenda with said changes?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Is there any discussion? Ms. Randy, please.
Councilmember James,
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez,
Yes.
Councilmember Akins Wells,
Yes.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the minutes from July 21st. Has everyone had the opportunity to review them? And if so, are there any changes to be recommended?
Madam Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did we do roll call?
Yes, I
Oh.
moved it up. I'm so discombobulated right
Oh.
now. It was out of order.
Okay.
So the
I'll make
minute,
a motion to approve the minutes.
thank you. That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Is there any discussion? Miss Randy, please.
Councilmember James,
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez,
Yes.
Councilmember Akins Wells,
Yes.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Miss Randy, can you read the disclaimer for our public comments, please?
Yes. Per the Charter, Section 2-1-7, Rules of Procedure and Decorum. Comments will be limited to a total of 3 minutes per speaker. 21 minutes are allotted in total. Members of the public are not allowed to participate in any debate or discussion conducted by the governing body members. Our public comments must be limited to matters on the agenda or over which the governing body has jurisdiction. Each speaker must maintain a decorous demeanor and refrain from personal attacks upon members of the governing bodies or employees, shouting and using obscene language. All questions and comments shall be directed to the presiding officer, and members of the governing body may respond to the comments during their closing comments if they desire.
All right, thank you. Tonight we have one, Dr. Payton. Is he still here? He did leave. All right, well, that concludes the public comments. Our city manager's report. Mr. Clark, you have the floor, sir.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we're going to focus on sharing everything that has been accomplished since I became city manager of this amazing city, and I'm going to run through this fast. All right, so first we'll start about what the foundation actually was. Mr. Virgil, I think you have the clicker.
It may still be up on the podium.
Right, there we go. When I came into this community some 2.5 years ago, I talked about a concise vision. And that vision was One Forest Park, which talked about the tentacles of operational efficiency, neighborhood sustainability, and economic development. I've always believed that with any organization, regardless private or public, as long as you have a foundation, everything else begins to flourish. Since I've been here, within the first 100 days, we got off the ground running. We used to issue weekly leaflets just to let the public and members of this governing body know what was happening during that time period. Thanks to our PIO, our chief of staff, I just elevated him, my press secretary, we were able to really disseminate information really fast about what was happening through that 100 days. As we listened to our governing body, listened to the residents and stakeholders in this community. So just a few things that we've did. We've unveiled the One-Click app, which now allows all of our residents to communicate all of their needs to the directors that are responsible for them. We instituted the One Light initiative, by which approximately 1,200 street lights within the city were upgraded. There's still a lot of work to go. We also implemented the employee town hall meetings. These meetings allowed our employees and our workforce to really hear from me as city manager firsthand. One of the things I've always shared with them was that their future would always be more important to me than it was to them. Through these town hall meetings, we learned that a large percentage of our employees only wanted opportunities for professional development, and we've since done that. As you can see here on the screen, this is one of our cohorts that we did where we took all of our administrative staff through this Clayton State cohort for this development training. At the end, they were able to receive actual credit hours to help further their college journey. Employee engagement, this just shows some of the many events that have been done right here in Forest Park. We were able to take our employees to a Hawks game as well as a soccer game, thanks to our amazing HR director, the employee fun days where our police and fire always found a way to fight each other, as well as luncheon, our employee luncheons. In addition to that, it wasn't just about the organization, it was making certain that our legacy residents in this community actually had a voice. We've expanded funding for senior outings in this event. The seniors are traveling more than I am. The inclusive representation in our city media campaigns, and also this council approved a historic budget solely for senior services, because I've always believed if we can have an event for adults, we can also have the same events for our legacy residents. We also, through the efforts of this governing body, launched a 1.3 aggressive effort to repair and renovate homes in this community. This program was rolled out in 2 phases. Phase 1 was for those individuals that were 65 and older, and phase 2 was for those individuals that were 65. Most recently, we partnered with the Atlanta Center for Self-Sufficiency, Clayton County Public Schools, Atlanta Technical College, Clayton State University, Calvary Refuge Center, and others to ensure that once and for all, we were focusing on not only the unhoused population that we have here in Forest Park, but also those individuals that are underemployed. Off the rails, this was by far probably one of our most innovative concepts when we actually put our residents and stakeholders on a bus and we toured them around some of our most prized sites in Forest Park. The first 3 were sold out 2 weeks before we even really pushed the event. A huge thanks to our Economic Development Director, Ms. Rochelle. Also digitizing operations. Now for every individual that comes within our city offices, there are employee kiosks. We just recently launched OpenGov Performance Dashboard that really bridges what integrity and transparency actually looks like. And then we're in the final phases for that, really creating that concierge one-stop shop for permitting, zoning, and education within our PC&D division. Also, we were able to get branding for most of our city departments, and there's still more to come. Through the efforts of Chief Brandon Chris, we've had our highest staffing levels in that police department than this city has had in probably 2+ decades. Financial recovery. Over the last 2.5, 3 years, we have been able to collect $1.6 million in unpaid taxes. It is true that there had never been a tax sale in this community since inception, so we were able to get all of that bad debt off the book, as well as doing a utility audit on all of our major utility providers. And you can see there, that effort led to roughly $15.9 thousand in savings, and we received $9,226 in rebates. And the list goes on. It is true that if you make a plan, set a goal, make a plan, and take action and be persistent with it, great things follow. However, on this day, officially August 4th, I'm officially tendering my 30-day resignation from local government. This decision, though not easy, was made with prayer, deep reflection, and the understanding that true growth sometimes requires the courage to pause, reset, and realign. This is not just a professional transition for me. It's a personal one. August 4th carries a meaning. It is the birthday of President Barack Obama, who taught us that vision and perseverance can rewrite history. It is the date of Anne Frank's final diary entry, a reminder that even the quietest voices can echo across generations. And it is also a date tied to the legacy of Georgia's own Congressman John Lewis, who urged us all to get into good trouble for the sake of what is right. For me, August 4th now becomes a mark in my own story, the day I release one assignment so I can step fully into the next. What many may not realize is that I began my journey in public service at just 17 years old. That's 21 years of government service, more than 11,000 working days, and over 250,000 hours of my life poured into solving problems, building policy, and serving people. From an eager teenager with a desire to help to becoming one of the youngest city executives in America, I've spent my adult life inside this work. I've missed holidays, carried the weight of entire cities, and stood tall in rooms where my voice had to speak louder than the politics. But I did it with pride, because this work was never about recognition. It was always about impact. And the truth is, my story starts small, not with privilege or access. I grew up not in a mansion, but in a tiny trailer filled with hope. I didn't have a silver spoon, but I had a strong family, and all of my friends who are here with me tonight, I would ask you to please stand. I don't know if that includes me or not. But to my friends have been my marker. They have weathered the storms with me and always reminded me, you can sit, that my dreams were valid. That's why I entered public service, to make the road easier for those walking behind me. For boys and girls like me who grew up with a big vision in small places, my decade plus of service in Clayton County shaped me. It refined my leadership, stretched my vision, and ultimately catapulted me to a national platform where I could speak on behalf of underserved communities across this country. Even just a few days ago, I submitted a grant on behalf of Clayton County, more than $3 million in funding, because even in transition, I needed to leave behind something tangible, something that shows how deeply I care about this place. I need my final act to be about departure, not deposit. This is part of my legacy. But legacy isn't just in concrete or numbers. It's in the culture that you create. It's in the standard that you set. It's in the people who walk taller because you made space for them to lead. To my department heads, I'd ask you to please stand. I see you, I honor you, and I pray for you. My prayer is that your personalities are never dimmed Or do they never try to overshadow your good work? May your hands stay strong, your heart stay pure, and your impact never be ignored. You are really the soul of this city, and you deserve to flourish. It's been an honor to serve you. To the mayor, I'm sorry, Chief Clemens. To the mayor and city council, thank you for trusting me with your vision. To this community, thank you for allowing me to lead with heart. To my friends and family, especially my mother, Cheryl Brown, and my late grandmother, Jeannie Brown, thank you for being my compass, my covering, and my constant reminder of where I came from. My hope is to one day support multiple cities at once, because it is true. We live in the best state in the nation, and every corner of Georgia deserves to rise. And so as I prepare to do this transition, I say this with clarity and peace. This is not an ending. It's a gentle reset, a return to the boy who dreamed beyond his circumstances, and a declaration from the man who knows now that legacy doesn't stop when the title does. It multiplies when you walk away with integrity. August 31st, it's just not my farewell. It's a promise to keep building, to keep serving, and to keep believing in what's possible. Because even in the smallest seas, in the smallest cities, and I have former mayor of Jonesboro, Mayor Joy Day, we spent 10 years together here with us today. In the right hands, it can move mountains. And I'll leave you with this. When you see me next, know that this chapter was only the preface. Something greater is stirring, greater for me, for Forest Park, and for Georgia. Together, we've proven that hope can move mountains. But the mountains ahead, they're even bigger, and I plan to move those too. Thank you, Forest Park, for allowing me to serve you. Thank you, Clayton County, for shaping me. My legacy is etched not only in what I've done, but in who I've become, and what I pray this city will continue to be. My heart is full, my faith still unshakable, and the future for all of us is brighter, bolder, and closer than we think. Thank you, Forest Park.
So now you all know why we were reluctant to officially adjourn the work session. I know we do have closing comments by the governing body, but I am going to give everyone the opportunity to respond. If you're ready now, Councilwoman James? Councilman Gutierrez, you wanna?
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to tell you thank you, Ricky. You're the ultimate professional. Always, regardless of anything you're going through personally. I know, you love your mom so much, and I always just admire that so much, because I'm a mama's boy. And your nieces and nephews, and you always answer the phone regardless of whatever you're doing. I'm gonna miss you, man, but I am just proud of you, because it takes another level of maturity in life to realize, when your chapter's done somewhere and go on. I don't think your chapter was done here, if you still want to reconsider. But no, I'm kidding. You always just have a smile. You treat the janitor the same as you treat the CEO somewhere, so I just always love that about you, and I'm proud that you are my city manager always. And, I hope to hear from you. You're my friend. At least I consider you that, or not because I was, over you. I hope, that we can continue this relationship. But whatever your next step is, just, I appreciate you. And I don't know, I'm speechless and just thankful. Like, I'm glad that you put that up there, because your impact is great here, and you see it with the leadership, and you see it in your staff, and you made our work just so much easier, in making all these things happen. So I'm gonna miss you, but I'm happy for you, and I'm happy that you're happy with what you're doing. And yeah, just let us know if you need anything. Forest Park is always your second home, I think, after Jonesboro.
Councilwoman Wells?
Ricky. I think from the time I'm supposed to be out tough, I'm not crying, but I think from the time when we sat down in Nouveau in Jonesboro, well, first of all, when the mayor called me and she said, I got a city manager in mind, and I think everybody would be in favor of him. I didn't even have to think twice. I already knew who she was referring to, and I said, Ricky Clark. The crazy part is I didn't even know you like that. I have seen you in church passing by, but we had never physically met. And I already knew who you were, and I was excited to see you come. We've hung out outside of politics. We've talked about, all of my business. All of my business. And I think I know a lot of yours too. I appreciate you. I know I have been one of the toughest ones, but you understood a little bit. If you didn't, let me know right now. Speak now, forever hold your peace. But you understood my passion. You understand my passion, and I don't think you took it personal. But there was times that if the tables were turned, I would have. And so I apologize to you if I was too hard on you. Even right now, like, you've been to my home, my son, his dog sat for you. I've cleaned your home. My family loves you. And although even right now, we aren't like we was. And I think that's because of politics. I think politics messes up a lot of friendships. That's why I don't like politics. That's why I say I'm a peopletician and not a politician, because politicians lie to get what they want. And I'm going to always be Shantae, and I hope you always be Ricky.
It's crazy.
I hope you can start coming back around the family now. But yeah, you caught me off guard with this one. And although I know everybody's going to have their disagreements, but when I care for a person, I truly care. And that never changes. So I just want you to know that I care. I love you. I appreciate you. And I pray to God that whatever you decide to do next, God will bless you tremendously. Yeah, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Mears?
Well, sir, it's hard to imagine sitting up here without you. I've been around, I'm probably the senior elder of the committee here, been around the longest, and Forest Park has wandered in the wilderness and darkness for a long time. Till you come along and got us on the straight and narrow with all your wisdom and courage and determination and got us straightened out. I guess I'm being a little bit selfish, but we need you, even though you've made your mind up, and we'll support you. We need you here continuously because we'll be lost without you. And I hope that God's with you and you remember us and help us whenever you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman James?
Okay, I think I got myself together. So first I'll say, Mr. Clark, you know that I hold you in high regard because of the wisdom that you have and the experience that you brought. And something I said in our strategic planning meeting to the leaders that was there was that we as a governing body have made some mistakes along the way. We've made poor choices along the way. And because of some of those poor choices, we've had to have our mayor step up to do some things. And I felt like Mr. Clark was the best decision that we've made. And I still feel like that. And I know that what you have instilled in our staff and the leadership that you have put in place, we're going to be okay. It's going to be hard, but we're going to be okay. Because I know that when you look at leaders, you're there to mold them to be even better. And I think because you've came our way, you made us all better. And we're going to continue on. We're going to build a great city for our residents and our employees. And largely, I think because you came our way. And even though those Monday messages,
4 o'clock in the morning.
I'm like, okay, I'm not reading all this today. But I know your journey here in Forest Park has been tough because you had some ground to break through. And I thought my little encouraging phone calls were helping you, but I guess not. No, but seriously, I really think that God always take care of us. And I know that he leads us in different paths, and we have to take those paths where he leads us. And he's he's omnipresent. Our God is.
Yes.
And so just like he will be with you, he's going to be with us. So even though I may give you a hard time and say, I don't want you to go, I don't want you to go, I really want you to take care of your health. I want you to take care of your mental state, because ultimately that's more important than anything. And I want you to be well. I want our employees to be well. I want our residents to be well. And so we just have to continue to do what we have to do to be well ourselves. Because we know hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're not well, we're not doing anyone any good. So thank you, Mr. Clark, for your leadership. Thank you for your, what's the word I'm looking for? Compassion. The love that you have for everybody. And like Councilman Gutierrez said, we don't know if you're talking to the janitor or you're talking to the CEO, because you're just that kind of person. And so I salute you, I honor you, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
But you'll be here until the 31st, so I'm going to bug you until then.
Take this with you too.
He is going to get rid of that one. So while I truly do echo the sentiments of all of my colleagues, Councilwoman James said something that really resonated with me, and how you really make everyone around you better. And that is what is known as the Ricky Clark effect. And so I do understand that behind every great man is a great woman. And so everyone from, well, I mean, your mother, your mother, and then even Mayor Day, who has been an amazing mentor to me when I assumed this role. But we always, stop, I'm trying to be serious. We always said, whenever we would see each other, what it would be like for us just to have the opportunity to work together. There was a mutual, reciprocal level of respect that we had for each other. And so even though we said it just about every time we would come into contact with each other, we just never knew when that opportunity would present itself. And then lo and behold, the stars aligned themselves and that opportunity came. And as previously stated, when there was no hesitation, I rallied the governing body and they did not hesitate. And so now we don't have to wonder what would happen if we had the opportunity to work together. Because now, not just those of us sitting up here, I was trying to count really quick, but now the world knows. And it's just magic, and you're just magical. And so we were friends before you came to Forest Park. And days were rough, but we're friends after your departure. And just know with every fabric of my being, every ounce of my existence, I love you. I do. Yes.
Attorney Chacardi.
So I know we're going to have a big party to celebrate your departure, but just know you'll be missed.
Thank you.
All right. Presentation of our monthly financial report.
I'm going to ask that we hold the financial report
Okay.
for tonight until the next meeting.
All right, let's see. Public hearings. Is there a motion to recess the regular meeting and enter into the first of 3 public hearings? Is there a motion? Y'all want to just go home?
So move.
All right,
Yeah,
guys,
we can.
Second.
The next meeting just be extra long. Y'all come on.
Meeting adjourned.
I think we do, as a
Do the
relates to the
public
public
hearings at
hearings,
least.
we have to get to those because we've advertised.
Then we could just breeze through the rest. All right, there was a motion by Councilwoman James,
Second.
Councilwoman Wells, the second
Oh.
by Councilman Mears. Is there any discussion? All right, thank you. So the first public hearing is on text amendment 2025-03, Title 8 for Planning and Development, Chapter 8 Zoning, Article A, General Provisions, Section 8-8-4, Definitions of the City of Forest Park Code of Ordinances to amend such section, adding definitions for EV charging stations, and text amendment Title 8, which is Planning and Development, Chapter 8 Zoning, Article C, Development and Use Standards for the City of Forest Park Code of Ordinances to amend such section and adding Section 8-897 for EV charging stations. Now, per our charter, 10 minutes is allotted per side in its totality. So 10 minutes is allotted to those who wanted to line up and speak in favor of this text amendment, and then 10 minutes would be allotted in its totality for those who are not in favor of this text amendment. So anyone who wanted to speak in favor of text amendment 2025-03, you may line up at the podium now. All right, not seeing anyone. Is there anyone who wanted to line up and speak against or in opposition of this text amendment? You may line up at the podium now. All right, not seeing anyone. This public hearing is now closed. I'm just going to go through them and then do the vote after for all 3 of them. The next public hearing is on a conditional use permit 2025-03 for 4959 and 4965 West Street to establish a child care center in the single-family residential district. So as previously stated, 10 minutes per side is allotted. So those who want to speak in favor of this this conditional use permit, you may line up at the podium now. All right, not seeing anyone. If there's anyone who is not in favor of this conditional use permit, you may line up at the podium now. All right, that public hearing is now closed. And so now we have the public hearing for the impact fees. So once again, 10 minutes per side. So those in favor of the impact fees, you may line up at the podium now. All right, those who wanted to speak against or is not in favor of the impact fees, you may line up at the podium now. All right, thank you. Not seeing anyone. Said public hearing is now closed. Now, is there a motion to reconvene into our regular meeting?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Is there a second?
Second.
By Councilwoman James. Is there any discussion? Ms. Rainey, please.
Councilmember James?
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez?
Yeah.
Councilmember Akins Wells?
Mhm.
Council,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Danica had my attention.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Now, is there a motion to approve the text amendment 2025-03?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second? That was Councilwoman Wells. Is there any discussion? Ms. Rainey, please.
Councilmember James.
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez. Councilmember Akins Wells.
Yes.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the conditional use permit for 4959 and 4965 West Street?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman Wells. Is there a second?
A second.
That was Councilman Mears. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to have a condition that the parking lot is done, or the parking lot is taken care of, or something.
Director Dozier, can you speak to what conditions staff is recommending for this item and if it addresses Councilwoman James' request for the enhancements to the parking lot?
Yes, originally when this staff report was done, staff had actually recommended that the property owner make the improvements prior to this tenant entering the property. Through discussions that were had by the planning commission, the recommendation was changed. So if it is the board's desire, we can go back to the originally recommended staff recommendation with regards to this parcel. The original staff recommendation stated that, number one, the applicant must adhere to the parking ordinance as outlined in section 8-8-90. That would be the property owner, not the tenant, would have to adhere to the parking standards prior to this new tenant entering the property. And the second thing was if the applicant ceases to operate at the location, they would have to obtain another CUP in order to operate another daycare facility center at this particular facility. So that was the original two recommendations. So if it's the board's desire, that's something they can decide to proceed with if you all choose to.
Attorney Matricardi, would you put that in?
So if that's the recommendation, it would be you would amend the motion and it would be a motion to approve the conditional use permit subject to compliance with the parking requirements in the zoning ordinance. The last piece about the conditional use permit, that they would have to do that regardless. So you don't need to include it in the motion.
All right, Councilwoman Wells, are you willing to amend your motion?
Yes, the only thing I want to make sure is that because I'm, although I feel like we have 100 daycares, it is what it is. But I just want to make sure that it's not going to hold, because I'm all for the businesses, it's not going to hold that person up.
It likely will, because either the owner pays for it or they require the applicant to pay for it. So until that parking requirement is satisfied, they won't be in compliance, and so they wouldn't be able to start their business yet.
So no, I won't withdraw my motion.
Okay, well, I'll call for the vote for that, and then if you wanted to add it and see Councilwoman James, and then see if it passes in general, we could do it that way. Ms. Rainey?
Okay, Councilmember James.
So this is for the
Approval.
conditional use permit as is. Councilwoman James is wanting to add a condition on the parking. And so Councilwoman Wells is not willing to amend her motion. So we're going to move forward with the first motion. So that was on the table, do a vote for that. And then if you wanted to add the parking, come back and do a second motion. And that was no from Councilwoman James. Councilman Gutierrez?
I abstain. I'm going through the stages of grief.
What?
Attorney Matricardi, I'm a tad bit confused. Even if there is a new applicant, the new applicant still has to adhere to our current parking standards that are within the ordinance. So it's a moot point almost, isn't it? Because they would have to do it anyway.
So the planning commission's recommendation was to not enforce those requirements on this particular instance because they didn't want to hold up the applicant from opening their business.
Same thing I just said, right?
Yes. So that was their recommendation.
Can we table it and maybe go look at it? Because maybe it's not as bad as the
There's a
picture.
motion on the floor first.
Oh, sorry.
Let's finish that. Councilwoman Wells?
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like, I want it to be safe, but I don't want it to hold up the applicant from opening up. Like, can they, yeah, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, cause it's twofold, like the safety is main priority, of course. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'm lost for words, surprisingly. Yeah, I don't know. I go with Councilwoman James.
Okay, so that's a no. Councilman Mears?
I'm in favor to leave it as is.
So we had 2 noes, an abstention, and a yes.
Yes.
Did I count that right?
Yes.
Oh, it failed.
It failed, okay. Now, Councilwoman James, did you want to put forth another motion?
Yes, make a motion that we table it.
All right. Is there a second? Second. That was Councilman Gutierrez. Is there any discussion?
Let's give us all an opportunity to go by the property and look at it.
So would you want to table it until the August 18th meeting, I believe, Clerk Rainey?
Yeah.
August 18th meeting.
Yes.
All right. The vote, please, Ms. Rainey?
Councilmember James.
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilmember Akins Wells.
Yes.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, is there a motion to approve the impact fees?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Mears. Is there any discussion? Ms. Rainey, please.
Councilmember James.
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez. Councilmember Akins Wells.
Yes.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Council approval of a resolution authorizing the cemetery maintenance and consideration of service reallocation options.
But this really, unless the board just wants to ratify, it really doesn't require a vote because the contract is month to month anyway. Attorney Matthew Carter, would you opine differently?
It doesn't impact it,
Yeah.
but you can also vote on it.
All right, well, we're gonna vote on it since it's on here. Council, is there a motion?
So I make a motion that we continue to do the month to month with the company.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Mears. Is there any discussion?
Now, some of y'all I ain't never seen here. I'm gonna just connect you to this. So hopefully if I see you out there, it's more positive. I'm just sad, sorry.
Can you focus? Let's get back. We almost done, Hector. I promise, we are almost done. Miss Randy, can you please do the vote?
I feel you, Councilman.
It's gonna be a
Councilmember James.
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
You're gonna miss that, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Oh,
Okay, Councilmember Akins Wells.
yes.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, next item is the city center project funding. I am still confused on the motion on this one. The recommendation from our financial advisor was to wait until after the vote in the election in November, the SPLOST particularly. And so I'm going to leave that open for the council, how they want to call for the motion on this one.
I make a motion, we table it until after the election.
Okay, and second by Councilman Gutierrez. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
So I want to be clear. The process to create the bond documents in itself will take 30, 60 to 90 days. What staff really needs is direction. If the governing body is still looking to move forward with the project, we need direction to authorize our attorney to begin to create those documents. And what we can do is hold off on the vote for the actual bond documents. But you don't want to wait until after the SPLOST vote to do those documents because we are already contracted with the general contractor and we're meeting every week. And I don't want to delay it and then we start getting billed and charged.
So move.
Wait, no, wait.
The motion.
Mayor?
Yes.
So any type of funding, it would come back. There would have to be a formal bond resolution that gets approved. We would go through validation with the courts. So this is just a recommendation on how you want us to proceed.
All right.
In the meantime.
Okay, was that already a
Okay.
motion on the table?
So make a motion that we table it. But also give the okay to move forward, whatever you all need to move forward so that the project can continue.
Okay, that's good.
So
That will.
moved.
That was a second by Councilwoman James. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, Ed mentioned that he didn't put it out there for national vendors. I just don't want to limit us to our options, but I don't know if maybe he didn't because
He
all
will,
the
he
ones
will
are
get
here?
us the best deal possible. So, and we can ask him to look at national vendors as well, just to see what's out there and ensure that we get the most competitive rate possible
Okay,
for the
thank
city.
you.
Ms. Randy?
Councilmember James.
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilmember Akins Wells.
Yes.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is there an approval to authorize the 2026 SPLOST project list?
So moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Councilman Mears. Is there any other discussion? Ms. Randy?
Councilmember James.
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilmember Akins Wells.
Yes.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, council approval of a resolution authorizing an amphitheater fee waiver for the 2025 Day of Prayer event.
So moved.
That was,
We would like to add one condition, similar to what we do for everything else, just that the applicant has to provide a certificate of insurance listing the city of Forest Park as additional insured. And that's consistent with all of the fee
The
waivers.
insurer is God, Ricky.
all right.
We might need another day of prayer
So
too.
moved.
That was Councilwoman James. Is there a second?
Add a second day of prayer.
Will you
Second.
second it? Okay, that was a second by Councilman Gutierrez. Can you please do the vote?
So James and then Gutierrez.
Yes.
Okay, Councilmember James.
Yes.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Yes, amen.
Councilmember Akins Wells.
Yes.
Councilmember Mears.
Yes, ma'am.
All
Okay.
right, closing comments. Councilwoman James.
Well, it's been a great day. Anyway, school is back in. Take care of the kids. Look out for the kids. Look out for them getting off the bus and all that good stuff. That's all I got to say, Mayor.
Councilman Gutierrez.
No, I just thank you everybody for coming today. Our new friends that came out today. Hopefully we meet again in other different areas of life and not today's tragic event. I see you, Demont, back there. I don't want to blame you, Demont Davis, but I don't see you often here. I'm playing, but thank you for coming and thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Again, Ricky, wish you the best, my brother. Happy for you. And yeah, we'll see what happens now.
Councilwoman Wells.
Yes, y'all have to excuse Councilman Gutierrez. He like a kid when they get answered. They've been
thank
sitting
you.
too long. We needed that though, Councilman. So thank you. And again, Ricky, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm not gonna say goodbye. I'll say see you later.
I still got some weeks.
Goodbye. Well, yeah, but I don't come up here like that. I don't deal with y'all unless I have to. I'm just saying. So I won't see you like that here. I won't see you like that here,
Yeah.
but I'll see you outside of here. And again, thank you. May God bless you, continue to bless you, and again, wherever you go, that you'll be the man you've always been, the person you've always been. Thank you so much, Ricky.
Councilman Mears.
Yes, ma'am. I want to thank everyone for being here also, and I want to thank Mr. Ricky for sharing this part of his life with us. I've learned a lot from him. He's a very, very, very intelligent young man, and I think we have been blessed to have him here for the little time that we had him. So I want to thank everybody for coming and bear with us and have patience. We're going to have to make a recovery move somehow, but we'll get by. Thank you.
Thank you all. This meeting is adjourned.